Good evening, Malawi. This is Global Pulse Newz, and I'm reporting live from Lilongwe, where the air is thick, not with rain, but with political thunder. The Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiatives, CDEDI, has just shaken the tables at the Salima Lilongwe Water Supply Project with a bombshell statement. You heard that right. The very project that was supposed to bring water to the capital city is now drowning in allegations of mismanagement, corruption, and total chaos. Sylvester Namiwa, CDEDI's fiery executive director, has called for the immediate suspension of the project's operations and a forensic audit into every kwacha spent. Now, let's be real. Malawians have waited for this Ya Madzi Ya Salima for years, some joking that by the time the taps flow, their grandchildren will be the ones fetching the first bucket. But today, CDEDI says enough is enough. This isn't about dry taps anymore. It's about accountability, transparency, and national dignity. In their statement, Namiwa echoed the words of President Arthur Peter Mutharika, who during his inauguration said Malawians voted against corruption and theft. CDEDI is now demanding the new government prove that slogan wasn't just poetry by acting on the alleged rot within this project. So, what exactly is going on? What are these allegations, and how deep does the water really run? Let's dive in. 10 facts, 10 waves of truth, and possibly the biggest storm yet in Malawi's water sector. The first shocker, CDEDI wants the Salima Lilongwe Water Supply Company to halt operations immediately. Why? Because, according to Namiwa, there are too many red flags waving like campaign banners at a political rally. He says it's not about opposing development, but about saving it from collapsing under corruption. Suspend it now, he emphasized, and let an independent audit uncover the truth before the damage becomes permanent. The demand follows reports of financial irregularities, mismanagement, and questionable contracts surrounding the project. It's not just an accusation, it's a cry for Malawi to hit pause before the entire system leaks out our future. Think of it like fixing a leaking pipe, Namiwa says. You can't keep pumping water through it and expect a miracle. And in a nation where every kwacha counts, pouring billions into uncertainty feels like watching Lake Malawi drain drop by drop. Transition hook? But hold your breath, Malawi, because the next fact hits even closer to home. If you thought this project was privately funded, wait till you hear whose pockets are really paying the price. Here's the jaw-dropper. What was meant to be a self-financed water project is now being funded by you, me, and every hard-working taxpayer. Under the previous administration, government guarantees turned this from a private initiative into a public liability. That's right. Instead of outside investors, the project borrowed 150 billion kwacha from local banks like NBS, National Bank of Malawi, and CDH Investment Bank. If the company fails to repay, it's the Malawian taxpayer who'll cough up the bill through our already stretched taxes. In the words of one citizen outside the briefing, "Tikugwira ntchito kuti tikale madzi ya kuena," roughly meaning we're working just to pay for someone else's water. And that frustration is real. Many feel betrayed by the idea that a project meant to bring development could become a financial noose around the necks of ordinary citizens. Transition hook? But it doesn't end there, not by a long shot. Because when you start tracing where the money goes, things get, well, a little too familiar. Let's follow the money trail. straight into the corridors of power. According to CDEDI, the financial web behind this project is as complicated as a Lusaka roundabout at rush hour. The company managing the project, the Salima Lilongwe Water Supply Company, or SPV, has shareholders who aren't your everyday investors. Guess who they are? The Chief Secretary to the government and the Secretary to the Treasury, both sitting at the very top of Malawi's financial management system. In simple terms, the same people approving the loans are also part of the company taking them. It's like marking your own exam paper and still asking for applause. CDEDI says this raises questions about conflict of interest and accountability, urging that such arrangements blur the line between public service and private profit. The message is clear: transparency shouldn't end at the boardroom door. And Malawians are now demanding to know, how could something meant to serve the people end up looking like a family business? Transition hook? But if you think that's the peak of the confusion, brace yourself, because the next twist might just make you spill your morning tea. It's about how much has actually been done and how much has mysteriously vanished.
CDEI says nobody, not even Parliament, knows exactly how much of the project's budget has been spent. The public can't see whether the 150 billion kwacha and loans matches the work done on the ground. The timeline says it should be finished by September 2026, but right now, many Malawians are asking whether this project will end up as another half-built monument to corruption. One contractor was quoted anonymously saying, "Even our cement doesn't know where it's supposed to go anymore." That's how messy it's become, a water project that's somehow running dry before a single drop has reached Lilongwe's taps. Namiwa's team says transparency and accountability are not optional luxuries. They are the foundation of trust. Without them, every promise feels like a vapor, visible for a moment, gone the next. But wait, things are about to get weirder, because the next part reveals how even the simplest things, like boots and bricks, somehow had to cross oceans before they could reach Salima. Now this one almost sounds like satire, but it's real. CDEI alleges that basic materials like cement, aluminum windows, even safety boots and bricks are being imported from abroad. Yes, imported. In a country full of suppliers, contractors chose to ship in things that could have been made right here in Malawi. It's like sending a letter to Blantyre by way of Beijing. The reason? Insiders claim it's tied to foreign partnerships, inflated costs, and a deliberate way to move Forex out of the country. Meanwhile, local industries are left watching from the sidelines, thirsty for the same opportunities. CDEI warns that this behavior doesn't just waste Forex, it deepens Malawi's economic drought. Because when even our bricks have passports, who exactly benefits from development? And if that made you shake your head, don't stop yet, because the next chapter takes the phrase local employment and turns it upside down.
Just when you thought this storm had calmed, another wave hits. CDEI says foreign workers are filling jobs that Malawians can easily do: guards, electricians, even fuel attendants. That means young graduates are sitting at home polishing CVs while expatriates cash in on allowances big enough to buy half of Area 49. Namiwa calls it Madzi Akunja, Ndichito Zakunja, water from outside with jobs from outside. He argues this kills the whole idea of skills transfer, the very thing that would help Malawi build its own capacity. For a project flying the Malawian flag, it now looks like the only local part left might be the soil itself. CDEI warns that if this continues, the project risks becoming another example of development without empowerment. And you might be wondering, maybe the foreigners are being paid fairly for their expertise. Wait until you see these pay slips. Brace yourself. Local guards earn about 600,000 kwacha per month, while foreigners pocket roughly 4 million kwacha. Add medical insurance for expatriates and none for locals, and you have what Namiwa calls economic apartheid at the construction site. It doesn't stop there. Locals get only 18 days of annual leave, while expatriates stroll off for 30 days with full benefits. The Pension Act? Ignored. Workplace equality? Missing in action. Tikulira ndinsima popanda nyama, one worker joked. We're eating sima with no meat, meaning working hard but reaping crumbs. CDEI insists these gaps violate Malawians' labor laws and must be corrected before a single more kwacha is released. But unequal pay isn't the only danger. There's something darker lurking on site: the cost of lives. Between April and September 2025, 7 productive lives were lost, including a teacher, due to site accidents linked to contractor Kato Civils. CDEI says this shows a total disregard for health and safety standards. In any proper setup, 7 deaths would trigger a national outcry and full investigation. Instead, silence, only press statements and funeral speeches. Namiwa's voice grew heavier here, reminding authorities that a project that takes lives to deliver water has already lost its humanity. He's demanding immediate reviews of safety protocols, protective gear, and contractor responsibility. And if you think breaking safety laws is bad, wait till you hear what they've done to the labor laws themselves.
CDEDI says the project is violating multiple sections of the Labor and Pensions Acts, from unpaid overtime to non-existent pensions. There's reportedly only one local engineer at the site, while foreigners run almost every major section. CDEDI is calling for a full legal audit to determine who approved these conditions and why oversight institutions looked away. Because if Malawi ignores its own laws, who will respect them tomorrow? And that leads to the grand finale, CDEDI's boldest demand yet, the call that's making both Parliament and State House sweat. In closing the briefing, Sylvester Namiwa didn't mince words. He wants the new administration to suspend the entire project immediately, conduct a forensic audit, and publish every result for Malawians to see. He reminded everyone that the Salima Lilongwe dream was born during EPM's first term, meant to bring clean water, not dirty politics. If that dream has been hijacked, he says it's time to take it back. Quoting him directly, "We cannot afford to bury our heads in the sand when corruption is burying our hope." The crowd applauded, some even stood up, a rare sight in a press hall. Namiwa ended with a challenge to the new government. Act swiftly, act transparently, and prove that promises of change were not mere campaign jingles, because Malawians, he said, have become the best judges of political sincerity. And with that, the microphone went silent, but the message echoed louder than ever. So, Malawi, what's your take? Do you believe the Salima Water Project is a miracle in progress or a money pit disguised as development? Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear from the people who actually fetch the water and pay the taxes. Remember, accountability begins with awareness. When we speak up, we remind those in power that the nation's resources are not personal property. As the saying goes, Madzi Sayakara Amamori, water never belongs to one person. For fearless journalism and stories that don't just inform but ignite conversation, keep it locked right here on Global Pulse Newz. Hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and share this story because truth travels faster when we all carry it. Until next time, this is your reporter signing off from Lilongwe, where the taps may be dry, but the truth is still flowing. Stay informed, stay bold, and remember, real news never sleeps.